Oh, let's make a start. Hello everyone, welcome to SIG Autoscaling for Monday the 30th of October 2023. Apologies for the usual time zone confusion as Europe switches daylight savings time off a bit before the US. We have a few items already on the agenda. First up, Carpenter adoption proposal. That lazy consensus period has now passed. So the intent is that we're going to move forward with adoption of Carpenter into the SIG. We have the weekly catch up with the Carpenter community later today. I realise that the time zone shift might mean that some people are unable to attend who would usually be able to attend. So I'll start a thread on Slack actually after this meeting, just to confirm that everyone's still able to attend. Because next week's KubeCon, so I don't think we'll be able to have a meeting then. Albeit maybe some people will be in person. But yeah, current plan is to have a discussion, working group discussion later, try and get the ball rolling on next actions for the adoption of Carpenter into the SIG. Suraj, I don't think is here today. I've not made any progress on that in the past week. Jack.
Yeah, just a quick PSA that I've been working on some cleanup in the Azure provider, and one larger chunk of cleanup is a sort of legacy obsolete AKS flavor, which sounds like it shouldn't be obsolete because AKS is not obsolete, but AKS uses a different autoscaler at the moment, and so this is a way of removing all this legacy code and not confusing folks. So I've got internal approval for this at Microsoft and Azure, and just want to announce it in public in case there is anybody out there who's figured out how to use this. We haven't ourselves figured out how it's usable, but before we remove it, we'll wait another week or two. And so that's it.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for that. That's it for the agenda. Does anyone else have anything else for this week? Might be a very quick meeting. I guess on the subject of KubeCon, myself and Marcin are going to be there giving the SIG talk on the Wednesday, I think, from memory. Obviously, one of the things we'll be covering is Carpenter. However, if anyone is wanting, and there's also the Meet the Contributors, which I'll be representing the SIG at. I can't remember what day that is, but I will stick it into the Slack as well. If anyone is wanting to have any discussions outside of that, feel free to get in touch via Slack. Be great to meet up with some people if you've got any thoughts on how we could do things better or anything else, then yeah, just get in touch. I'll be there for the whole week. And unless anyone else is about to suggest any other subjects, that's it. Joe. Do you have something you want to say, Joe?
In case you're not aware, you're muted, Joe.
One last chance. You're still muted, Joe. unless you raised your hand by accident, potentially. Don't know. Okay, in that case, barring anything else. Oh, no. Here we go.
I got something.
We can hear you. Sort of hear you now.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm sorry. I think I have a problem with my connections. I'm sorry. I just want to introduce myself. I kind of jump on your meeting, but I'm not really part of this team, and I've been trying to reach you like for some time already. And I didn't have the chance to talk to you. I don't know if is it the right time to ask questions, or is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So my name is Jean-Pascal. You can call me JP. I work at Microsoft. I'm an Azure, developer or engineer. And I heard one of your colleagues a few seconds ago talking about the autoscaler, which is exactly what I wanted to talk about. So we are using AKS, and of course we're using the cluster autoscaler as well, which is a really nice feature. However, we're using this in conjunctions with KEDA, and I don't know, are you familiar with KEDA?
Yeah, familiar with.
Perfect. And so I had an issue where basically we're using the autoscaler and it's autoscale properly, based on limitations on like CPU or memory, and everything's working really well. However, because we're using scaled job from KEDA, when we try to basically scale down, we notice that the job which is running is getting killed in the middle of the run, and those are long run. And I understand that scale job should be ephemeral, but in our case, they run for like, let's say, I don't know, 20 minutes, and then suddenly in the middle of the run, the job get killed. And the prime is we depending on the contents of the queue that has been read when triggered basically by KEDA. And now we lost the whole context and nothing works anymore. And so I was wondering, if someone could help me to figure out, and I'm sure it's probably something simple, but I didn't find any documentation on it, how to basically ensure that if the cluster scaler is scaling down, it does not kill, job until they complete or they finish. Is that making sense what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah, it's something we've heard before. I think you're right in that we don't have any explicit official documentation on sort of this. But there are annotations you can apply to pods to tell the cluster autoscaler that they're not safe to evict when scaling down, so it won't. So I think people have previously used that to build solutions, whether it's jobs marking themselves as unsafe to evict at startup, and then unmarking themselves once they've completed it or can be safely scaled down.
I see.
Or alternative. I'm not familiar enough with KEDA to understand whether it will just kill the jobs once they're completed. They're processing in that case. So yeah, but like I said, there's not official documentation. I can see if I can dig out. There have been past discussions around, I think, basically exactly this use case. Maybe not with KEDA, but with similar workflows.
I see. Yeah, because I try, to use, to mark pod to be not evicted. The problem is like if I do that, then what I notice is actually even that the autoscaler that don't seem to kind of agree with it, and it's like, I don't care, you're not marking like that, I will still evicting you no matter what. And I try to play, with a threshold, to be really, really low, to have a low threshold, maybe like to say, okay, I really try to evict toward the end when really you have really nothing's like not too much memory or whatever, something like that. Try to play around with those different criteria, but then I even look at the code to figure out how this is working, and I couldn't make it. Okay, so yeah, that would be really nice if you can have me. Because we have been stuck with this problem for quite some time, and now we have to basically manually scale down the auto cluster, which is not very great for us because most of the time we forget So basically, we end up having pods that are, like we have basically a cluster of pools of nodes that are not being used, and we're paying basically a lot of money every month for nothing. And so it's not a very ideal situation. And I could have sworn that was a basic scenario, that was supported by you guys and Keda, but yeah. Anyway, so okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. I really appreciate you having me here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Jack, have you got something you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to reinforce what Guy said about annotating the pod. That really should be the only solution. I would probably not worry about Keda.
Okay.
Keda isn't going to, Cluster Autoscaler doesn't know about Keda, and Keda, the way you've configured it, Cluster Autoscaler has authority over removing nodes from the cluster. And so the thing you need to worry about in terms of Keda is, as Guy said, orchestrating some life cycle in terms of telling the pod when it can be evicted after the job is completed, or if the job is deleted, that's great too.
I see. How do
the pod won't exist.
Do I have to go and write some kind of like special code in AKS, or how do I do that? So I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that way.
That's okay. We could probably take this offline, async.
Yeah.
If you're definitely on Kubernetes Slack, I'm in the SIG Autoscaler or SIG Autoscaling channel. Yeah, SIG Autoscaling. I'd be happy to help. I would be surprised if the standard way of doing it, which is to use the cluster autoscaler.kubernetes.io/safe to evict annotation on the pod won't work. That should work.
Okay.
You probably notice that if you've used cluster autoscaler, there are sort of like first class daemon set features which assume that you can delete daemon sets, and then there's also options to do the inverse where you respect daemon sets. So you just need to do something similar like that for regular pods, for non-daemon set pods.
I see.
Because cluster autoscaler uses, without these annotations and other things that are kind of inherited from Kube Scheduler, it treats pods equally. And in terms of redistributing pods across nodes in order to reduce the number of nodes running in a cluster, it assumes that unless you tell it otherwise, that a pod is disruptible and can be moved from one node to another gracefully.
Right.
So you need to instruct the pod. You need to configure the pod so that cluster autoscaler knows that pod actually cannot be moved to another node without disrupting traffic. I see someone else is raising their hand.
That makes sense. Thank you so much.
Yeah, hi. This is Biniek. I'm Keda maintainer, so I just want to highlight like what you guys said. So basically, this is something you should configure on the cluster autoscale level, because what Keda does in scale jobs, it basically just creates Kubernetes jobs. So it's like a standard Kubernetes job from the Kubernetes perspective. So this is really the solution you should use.
Perfect. Thank you. And I will follow both of your comments. Really appreciate it. I will try to connect to this Kubernetes Slack or whatever. I'm sorry. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't think I am part of it. So I will do this, and then I will follow up, with you guys. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Awesome. Cool. Is there anyone else that wants to raise anything last minute? Cool. In that case, we won't run a SIG call next week, given KubeCon. Myself and Marcin will be either in transit or there at the time. So in that case, see everyone in a couple of weeks, or see you in person at KubeCon next week.
Enjoy Chicago.
Or this evening. See ya.